Hello, my name is Jill. I teach online belly dance classes. Is this your first time here? I was gonna say, if this is your first time here, welcome. I'm all about embodied femininity. That is the emphasis that I try to take in my classes. I do tutorials like this on YouTube, and if you happen to be in Halifax, Nova Scotia, that is where I teach. So, what's happening today? I want us to, first of all, we're going to cover a combo that I'm demonstrating in a short that is linked right there. And we're gonna dance it, and we're going to kind of talk about embodiment and how dancing helps us embody certain qualities that are desirable, in my opinion. So it's like, who are you to tell me what's desirable? So, to me, what is desirable and like the goal of life, like what are we here for, man? In my opinion, we're not here to just like go to work every day and come home and go to sleep, eat, sleep, rinse, repeat, you know? Like that is very mechanical, it's robotic, it's not really keeping it, when we do it day in, day out, all year round, it's not really keeping in touch with the cycles of nature. Yet we are natural beings, we are a product of nature ourselves. We forget that we are animals, and especially if you're a woman and you have a menstrual cycle, then you really are, first of all, you cycle on your own, and you are also kind of more attuned to the cycles of nature, be it the lunar cycles, the seasonal cycles. Like I find that there is kind of no getting away from these things, like they just affect me. Maybe it's because of my astrological placements. That's another conversation for another time. Cancer rising, moon in Leo. I am completely ruled by the sun and the moon and their movement through the sky. And you know you can tell me otherwise. I'm very affected by them. And for a long time, I experienced a lot of depression and anxiety. Also, like I'm a big proponent of nature and nurture. It's not all one or the other. But anyways, there are other reasons for why I have a propensity towards depression and anxiety, aside from being so sensitive to the movement of the sun and the moon through the sky. And I just found that there would be times before my spiritual awakening. That's such like a cliche term, you know, like I don't want to overuse it, but it is what it is. Before I became more spiritual and before I really engaged with a spiritual awakening for myself, I found like sometimes I would just be like, I feel so off this weekend. What's going on with my mood? Why do I feel this way? What's coming up? And I would just like have this anxiety that would last for a couple days, and then it would subside. And then at some point in my 20s, I started realizing that my moods were kind of following the full moons. Not that like I was consistently depressed or anxious every single full moon, but I would notice on a really specific weekend, maybe it would be a super moon, or maybe I would look it up and I would see the moon was in a sign that is particularly important in my birth chart. So anyways, why am I telling you about all this? We cycle. We are cyclical beings. We are sensitive to nature, and we respond to the cycles of nature, whether we're aware of it or not. So dance really helps me. Oh yeah, I started this whole conversation because I wanted to talk about what are desirable qualities. So all of those things, all of that awareness kind of triggered my spiritual awakening, and I decided that the desirable qualities that I wanted to learn to embody were things like groundedness and flow, and being willing to take up space, and having healthy boundaries, and asserting my essence and my confidence. So when I say desirable qualities, those are the kinds of things that I'm talking about. Okay, we've now come full circle. That was a nice little story time break. So when I teach dance and I talk about embodiment, those are the things that I like to try to bring to our mind, because groundedness is something that really helps with anxiety. And you can talk about groundedness until you're blue in the face, but if you don't have a chance to put it into practice in moments when you are anxious, then like what are we really learning at the end of the day? We're not really putting it into practice and learning how to live by those principles, even if we understand them on an intellectual level. So I also found, in addition to like in moments where you're like, oh crap, I feel anxious, let me try this technique to ground, I also found that as my spiritual awakening really was like paralleled with me diving into this dance, And I realized that it's because this dance teaches groundedness, it teaches flow, it teaches us how to take up space and be confident and assert our energy. Where was I going with that? It's a moment when you practice embodying these qualities in the dance and you're not in that moment of being challenged. In my experience, it helped me kind of integrate groundedness or flow into my mentality. So it's like I kind of went backwards with it, as opposed to learning about what groundedness meant and then trying to put it into practice, which is something I find very challenging. I learned how to embody groundedness through the dance, and then suddenly in different aspects of my life, I was able to be more grounded. That's what I'm trying to say. So, how are we going to incorporate this into our dance? So the combo that we're doing today, I wouldn't say it's super grounded. It's really more of like a flow and an assertive, playful kind of combo. So that's the energy that we're going for today. Embodying playfulness, let's put it that way. And flirtatiousness, really. Again, because this is a very feminine dance, it's like there are kind of themes, emotional themes that come up again and again. Like there are only sort of so many emotions in the, we were talking about this in my class in Halifax last week, the emotional wheel, the emotions wheel, the wheel of emotions. There are only so many, you know? So today, like you're gonna hear me talk about the same ones over and over again, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So what happens? What are we doing in our combo? So first we're starting out by like saying hi. We're doing 2 chassés. So with your feet, you're gonna go right, left, right, left. And then you're going to step back and then forward again with your feet. So you're gonna go back, front. But as you do that, you're gonna take yourself around in a circle. So you're gonna go back and angle your body, and then front, bring your body around even more, so that by the time you finish that, you're kind of angled, you're on an angle on the opposite side of the room. So I start facing front, I step back with my right, so I take my body, it's like I'm drawing a clockwise circle. I take my body a little bit to the right, and then I step forward, I take my body around even more to the right, and then that little sequence finishes with a little like surprise pop, because you can only get yourself around so much with those steps, and then it's like, oh, hi. So that's what I was saying, is a little bit flirtatious. So that's the footwork. What's happening with our hands? We're going right, and our hips. I just added hands and hips at the same time. So you're going right. With your hips, you're gonna stick them out a little bit. We're not marching with our feet. Right, and left. Put a little bit more flow into it. Put a little bit more of your essence into it. I really like to flow. That doesn't necessarily mean that's what you have to do. That's just sort of like my suggestion that I give as the structure in the class. It's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You can see how that would go. Obviously, I did it to pop music. Because that's like what trends on social media, so that's how you get visibility. But I think that this kind of movement is really nice for soft, romantic, classical music. You can literally put it to anything. So we're gonna go chassé on the right, chassé on the left, and then you're gonna do your little circle steps. You're gonna go back with your right, bring the left foot back to meet it, front, and turn. So then you kind of turn in this like cutesy little, my hands are on my lap type of deal. Then you're not gonna do anything with your feet or your hips. You're just gonna be, you're gonna take a moment of emphasis where you really assert your energy. And moments where there's not a lot of movement can be really challenging, because it's like you feel so vulnerable, you know? So that's why I say this dance taught me self-confidence, because it's just like you got to be okay with just standing there and just moving your arms. And actually, like, to me, it's so delicious. It's so juicy, because it's just you and the melody and your arms, and you just get to embody our word of the day, the music. You get to just like be with the music. And that's what I mean about how this dance taught me to embody life skills that we are lacking in our culture. Because like, how often do you hear someone say like, sweetie, why don't you just sit down and take a minute to be with the music? Obviously we can't like sit and listen to music all day and not do anything else, as nice as that might be, and that's what weekends are for. We do a lot of action, we do a lot of running around, and we do a lot of talking and output, but there needs to be balance. And one of the reasons why this kind of slowness and vulnerability is so uncomfortable when you're first learning it is because you're not used to it. And that's why you need it even more. So let's kind of speak about that. So you come around to the front, you're gonna bring your arms together at your waist, you're gonna kind of give yourself a little bit of a hug, And then you're gonna open your arms. Good. And then the next move I did was a shoo-shoo, and I kind of came forward with it. So what is a shoo-shoo? So you go up on the balls of your feet, open my arms down for a minute, because I'm not gonna keep them up every time I'm teaching. And you're gonna shift your weight. You're not gonna shift your weight. You're gonna pick your feet up, right, left, right, left. You're gonna take these tiny little steps. And as you step, you're gonna move your hips with it. So every time I step on my right, I am sending that hip up in the air. Every time I step on my left, I'm sending that hip up in the air. And when you do it really quickly and really tiny, this is how it looks. So it's kind of like you're sweeping the floor with your feet. It's creating this illusion of like just smoothness while the hips are moving. It's like a very nice kind of hypnotic movement. So you do that a little bit with D, and I traveled with it. Again, the way that I do it doesn't necessarily have to be how you do it. You could just practice it facing front and then work on traveling with it. It really doesn't matter for this purpose. So the next thing I did after the shoo-shoos was I kind of changed energy again, and I moved from softness to something more assertive. So I brought my feet flat on the ground. I came off the balls of my feet, and I did 2 hip sits while I was walking. So you're gonna put your right leg in front of your left, and you're gonna bring that little hip up and do a little drop. Why did I say little hip? I meant bring your hip up and let it drop and do a little hip sit. Because the music, like I was moving quite quickly, so you don't really have time for like a lot. It's not a moment for like a big emphatic hip sit. It's just a little bump. Right foot, engage your quads and your glutes. Always engage that core when you're belly dancing. Drop, up, down. Except like the reason why it's called a hip sit, or some people call it a hip drop, is because the emphasis is on the down. So I'm not engaging my muscles to hit up, down. What I'm doing is down. Step on that right foot, put your left foot in front of you, and down. Step, drop, step, drop, step, drop, step, drop. So doing it with the walk kind of helps, because when you're walking, when you take a step, your hip naturally goes up, so then you can just let it fall. So we do our little shoo-shoo, D, and then we go 1 and 2, and then I finish by standing neutral and hitting my hips, right, left, right. So we're kind of doing this contrast between like softness and assertiveness, flow and grounding in this combo. So let's walk through from the beginning. So we've got our 2 chassés. We're gonna go right and right, left and left, and we're really adding flow to it by putting in some nice soft arms, nice big soft arms to frame it. Then we do our little like circle walk around. So you're gonna go back, back, front, front, and hello. Give yourself a little hug. Open your arms up, and we're gonna do our shoo-shoo. So go up on the balls of your feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. Drop back down onto your heels. And 1, and 2, and right, left, right. So of course, when I demonstrated that movement before, I was framing my hips down here with my arms, and just now, just for fun, I decided to put my arms up. What do you think of that? You can do whatever you want. Like this I just wanted to try it, but I'm not a huge fan of how it looks, because it's like my arms are bigger and kind of flowing, but I wanted to do more of a hit with my hips on the bottom, so I can go keep my hands down here. Mental note to myself. Information you didn't really need, but here we are. Let's walk through it again without stopping. 5, 6, 7, 8. Chassé, chassé, circle, step, and hi. Arms up, and really take this moment. You know how I was saying it's like it's a vulnerable moment because there's not much happening. So really take the time to assert your energy, open your chest. Allow yourself to be open and be vulnerable. That's another thing that we are not really socialized to do, so it's a good thing to practice in dance class. So we finished raising our arms, shoo-shoo. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is like a very, with my open arms, it's a very much like I'm sharing type of movement, but you could also, like if you wanted to be more internal about it, you could also bring your hands down right in front of your body. Okay, so here, open. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 3. Very good. I hope you enjoyed that. Please do like, share, and subscribe. Try out the combo. Let me know how it goes. Have a wonderful day. Have a great week. See you soon.